this was a story. It was shared on Twitter, and it was shared to me from a friend of mine. Mo is his name, and someone was going through their grandma's stuff. Grandma had passed away, and they're going through boxes of grandma's old things when they happen upon this business card for one, as you see there, Dr. Dan.
It didn't even spell doctor right.
Well, back then he probably did. This is, I think,
no,
the 40s,
not.
the 50s.
There's not a back then version of how to spell doctor. That's not a thing.
By the way, Johnny, this was before you would add XXX to something to make it a parody. You had to slightly alter the spelling, like, on Golden Blonde and Forrest Hump before, so that you would not get sued by the proper authorities.
This whole show is ridiculous.
Dr. Dan, as you can see, is like the original American Gigolo, Richard Gere. And as you can see, he has various different ways in which he can get the job done. Only in the evening, though. Mm-hmm. He is not he's not an early riser or an afternoon delight type of guy. Just evenings, by appointment only. So, by the way, I didn't realize this till right now. Cut rate to party of 6 or more. Satisfaction with one hard on.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's 6 or more, you get a bulk rate, I guess. It's easier for him.
And widows are a specialty of him, of Dr. Dan.
On the back apparently has a menu.
Here's the menu prices. As you can see, I don't know how economical that is. Apparently, if you look down towards I don't know what the difference between tongue bath and the one underneath it is, per se, but there's a $20 difference.
Yeah.
Also, I love how clinical Dr. Dan makes it of, for $20, I'll give you a plain insertion. But
for an extra $7, I'll caress you. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. By the way, do we need... You could have just said dog fashion. Do you need to add the barking? Well, the barking and yelping were an extra like $2 there, it looks like.
I really want to know the year on this. I want to know when it was called dog fashion.
Right. They were more prim and proper back then, Johnny.
Say, honey, we got some extra time after the kids go to bed. Shall we do it dog fashion? With yelping or not?
Exactly. Dr. Dan says with yelping. By the way, also, you can get a little bit of finger diddle. A little finger diddle there for $9.50 with Dr. Dan. Yeah, who doesn't want a little finger diddle? By the way, how is looking at, and I understand why probably, but if you notice towards the bottom of the extra attention, Vaseline, if needed, costs more than titty chewing. By choice.
Nobody wants that. There's no woman that wants that. Chewing.
It's not a piece of gum.
Yeah, you don't want chewing, and you don't want womb stretching or yelping. You don't want any of that.
For you. I'll gnaw right there on that for you. Who needs Trident when I have your boobs to chew on? I'm Dr. Dan.
Yeah. See, this is what.
Yeah, French kissing was like $2, but plain insertion was $20. So there you go.
Yeah, this looks like one of those things. Just by looking at the age of it and everything, it has it appears to have the feeling of whatever era that stag films were around.
Yes, correct.
And that these sort of funny little cards would show up as part of the gag. It has that feeling of that era.
More of a gag, than an actual house call. Because if you notice, there's no number to call.
Oh, that's true.
Right? It's just Dr. Dan. So I think you may be onto something of this is more of a novelty that Grandma had than actually a service that Grandma used at some point.
Yeah. Do you think if I search Dr. Dan OnlyFans over here that something will come up, even with the misspelling?
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. I guarantee Dr. Dan's still out there somewhere. Yeah, probably. Maybe we can do a love connection and connect Dr. Dan with Tiffany, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because he seems he would be in her ballpark if he was a young, virile man back whenever this was printed.
Completely out of control.
Yeah, I just like the fact they use finger diddle. That's a hilarious turn of phrase. How'd you like a little bit of the old finger diddle there for $9.50?
Is this what things were? Nothing on here has what is inverted fashion? What is that? It's only $22.50.
Inverted position.
Inverted positions.
I'm not quite sure what. I really don't even want to know what womb stretch is.
Don't know either.
No, I don't. Dr. Dan will put a kid back inside of you. Is that what Dr. Dan will do with the womb stretch?
Oh God, this show.
All night is actually a pretty good deal compared to just per hour.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right. It's a bargain. All night with 6 people. I mean, you know.
Yeah, cutting it in half. You
get a baker's dozen going on in there.
You know what? That's what, $25 a person for all night with Dr. Dan and his finger dittle and his Vaseline if needed. Don't forget about the booby chewing.
Good night, everybody.